All right, everybody, it's the Working Fans Combat Cast with the man they call Dave and Chevarooney. And before we get going, here's a video. Are you a fan of pro wrestling, comedy, and combat sports? Then we have the podcast for you because we cover that and much, much more.
Do you like to debate with your friends? Do we have the perfect segment for you? It's the 531, where we take any given subject, break it down to a top 5. From there, we debate it down to 3, and then into that number 1 spot.
If you want to get a hold of us, find us on our social medias. Search Working Fans Podcast on any major social media platform. And if you want to find the podcast, search for us on any major podcast platform, as well as YouTube.
Working Fans Podcast. We put in the work so you don't have to.
All right, everybody. So it's another week of the Combat Cast. We're going to talk about what we just saw with UFC 273, including previewing this week's fight card on ESPN. But first, Chevy, why don't you tell me what we got coming up after this week?
All right, April 23rd, we're going to be previewing UFC Fight Night Lemos versus Andrade. And then at the end of the month, April 30th, we're going to be previewing UFC Fight Night Font versus Vera. And then after that, we're getting back to the really, really great cards with May 7th, UFC 274, Oliveira versus Gaethje.
That's just that card.
Hell yeah.
Very excited for that. So we're going to talk. You want to talk a little bit PFL first?
Yeah, so the PFL will be on ESPN Plus. It'll be on Wednesday the 20th, April 20th. So just some names to look out for. Olivier Auburn Mercier. He'll be on the card. Used to be in the UFC. Jeremy Stevens making his PFL debut against Clay Collard. That's going to be a really good fight, I think. That has Fight of the Night written all over.
Yeah, Clay Collard, I think, has been in the UFC before, too.
Yep, he has great boxing, yep. And Antonio Carlos Jr., Shoeface, also used to be in the UFC. He will be on the card as well, so something to keep an eye out for. Some more free fights if you're already paying for ESPN Plus. Wednesday night fights. Absolutely.
Yeah. Why not? Wednesday.
Yeah, the 20th.
Oh, okay. Were they on Thursday before?
Maybe. I thought they were on Tuesday for some reason.
Okay.
Maybe I'm thinking of the Contender Series.
The Contender Series was definitely on a Tuesday at one point. Yeah. So we'll talk.
I know they've been on Fridays before.
Okay. Yeah, I know there was like another night they were on, and I didn't think it was Wednesday. But I wanted to. Someone had sent this to us. Since we're about to talk about UFC 273, I wanted to bring up this thing before I forget. Alexei Oleinik, who we were going to talk about, got a big victory this weekend. And when this guy made his UFC debut, if you remember this thing here, it was Bill Clinton was U.S. president. The UFC was 3 years old. Michael Jordan was winning NBA championship. Max Holloway was in kindergarten. DVDs were about to replace VHS, and people consume music through portable CD players. That was on Twitter somewhere, I believe. MMA history. Anyway.
The guy's been around quite some time, and I think he's 44 years old at this point, and he's still choking dudes out.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I heard some people talking about, I think it was Anik and Florian podcast, where he was talking about that when you see him, you're shocked every time he wins. And I think one of the producers for the show was like, he laughs out loud every time he wins because he just can't believe it because he just looks so old. But like he's got like this incredible strength. Like his grip has got like one of the strongest grips you'd ever want to feel. And that he's absolutely like once he gets his hands on you, he's capable of hurting you.
Yeah, he gets people, and you think they'd learn by now that Ezekiel choke or scarf choke or whatever it's called. I feel like guys think that they're safe, because they're not giving up their back. But he slides his hand in. He was showing his opponent after the fight how he did it, but he slides his hand in. Once he gets his hand in there, he just flips his elbows up, and you have to tap or you're going to sleep.
Yeah,
because I think you feel like you're safe until once he puts that pressure on, it's immediate.
Now, speaking of some prelim fights, that was the early prelim fights he was on.
Yeah, I know, disrespectful, by the way, but
yes. Well, Mike Mallet, I did not get a chance to see this, but he apparently TKO'd Mickey Gall pretty good.
Yeah, it was a pretty good fight up until that point, and Mickey stepped into a right hand and face planted on the canvas immediately. He did regain his, consciousness and tried to fight back, but the stoppage was made. And when he went down, he didn't put his hands out at all. Like I said, he face planted, so it was a good stoppage. Yeah, tough break for Mickey Gall. Good debut for Mallet, and he talked about his boxing coach's 15-year-old daughter is battling cancer, and he's gotten a lot of support, even from fans handing him money on his way out of the octagon. So, way to make the best of an opportunity there for sure.
He said he was going to donate some of his or his winning purse, I think, to his coach. And actually, when they talked to Dana White about it afterwards, he said he can keep his $10,000. He said, we'll take care of that. So
yeah, Dana said he would donate his win and show money.
Oh, very good.
So,
very good.
I mean, that was his first fight, so he's probably making $20,000 altogether, but still good on the UFC.
Yeah. So they seem to do that stuff once in a while when things like this come up. So
right. PR opportunity for them for sure. Get that get the press off them about their fighter pay. But yeah.
We did good.
Yeah.
Raquel Pennington beat Aspen Ladd. Did you see this fight? What'd you think?
I did. It was a very close decision. I think Aspen thought that she won, but I don't think either girl really should have thought that they had gotten robbed. I thought it could have went either way, but I was fine with Raquel getting the nod. It was a good fight. Good marker to see where Aspen Ladd is at, because Raquel is I don't want to say gatekeeper because it has a bad connotation to it, but she's right up there in that contender position. She's not quite championship material, I don't think, at this point, but she's up there for sure.
Now another fight on the prelims. I came in for this one. Anthony Hernandez getting a victory by decision. Josh Frimid. I thought this was like a pretty competitive matchup from what I remember. Anthony Hernandez gets another victory though. What do you think about this guy?
Yeah, he's I'd like to see him a little bit more active. But yeah, he's looked great in the fights I've seen so far. Still got a little ways to go, but
yeah,
good performance.
After that, I believe that's where we ran into Ian Gary. Yep, he got defeated Darian Weeks. Technical fight, 30-27, I think, except for one judge had it 29-28. Maybe a little more competitive than some people thought. I'm looking at Weeks now. Like, this is only his second fight in the UFC. His other one was a 3-round loss to Brian Barberino, so no shame in that.
Right, tough first fight.
Yeah, and overall he's 5-2. So I feel like we don't really know a lot about Weeks too. Like,
right.
This could be something we look back at and go, wow, Ian Gary was pretty proficient. What do you think about the performance overall?
It was good to see Ian go 3 rounds. I was one of those people that thought he was going to get a first round knockout because he is such a big prospect. But we'll talk about it later on. But it's good to see some of these prospects get all they can handle and push through and show that they can handle it.
Now, I want to talk about something else too that's coming to mind. We don't talk about a lot, but like as on the East Coast, I hear Anik talk about this sometimes too, and Luke Thomas. But pacing of a card. Like overall, this was a good card, And there was one really great fight in the middle of it, I thought. But man, whew, and I mean, we'll break it down individually. But man, like if we could do something sometimes to move some of these fights along at nights, like I get it if we're getting finishes and you want to stall for a little bit of time, and we're going to end about 12:30 and 1:00 on a late night. I'm fine with that. But man, these 2:00 fucking shit. When I'm getting home a little after 2, it's like, what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah, it's too late. I mean, I get it that it's a global audience, and we gotta suck it up, and the people in Europe don't want to hear us complaining about 2 a.m. when they're getting up at 2 a.m. or whatever to watch the cards. But I don't know. I agree with you. When it's that many decisions and stuff, I want to see. I don't need to hear the interview from the loser in the third to last fight. Like, just get them out of the octagon. They don't need to take pictures and shit. Get them out. Get the next guys in.
We'll move the show along at this point.
You've already got our money, so
I say
for it at that point.
Yeah, we could even, if you really want to, like, for me personally, the StreamYard, I'd like to see them, unless it's something like really pressing, like we saw with Hansman and Burns, like it was an amazing barn burn or something. Let's put the interviews at the end of the pay-per-view. You know what I mean? Like, we already do a post-show. Like, why can't we just have that for some people at the end of it? And, like, if you want to stay up late and, like, oh, man, I'm going to nerd out and watch some of this stuff, awesome. But for some of us who, like, are tired or, you know what I mean? Like, okay, we were done with the fights. And, by the way, I rented this. So if I want, I could go back the next day and, check it out.
Especially since so many fighters don't take the opportunity to or capitalize on that post-fight interview to call people out or anything. So many people are like, I'll fight whoever the UFC puts in front of me or whatever. If that's what you're going to say, I don't need to hear your post-fight interview.
All right.
I'd rather be in bed,
I agree. That's why I brought it up. First fight, Mark Madsen versus Vince Pichel from Hell. Madsen with a decision. The guy's still undefeated. I know he's Olympian, but I got to be honest, like, given the fact I know he's had a lot of years in combat sports when you talk about his wrestling, I don't know if this guy is going to be a guy that I see, like, unless he makes some great strides and really improves his game. He seems a little too one-dimensional for me, and I feel like once he steps up, especially in the lightweight division, like, I think he's got a ceiling. I think this is a top 15, maybe top 10 guy at best.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment.
Right now.
He's also not very interesting. He kind of has like a cringy personality. I don't want to be a hater, but I'm not a big fan of the guy.
Oh, I know.
I don't like
when this fight started.
I don't like his fighting style. I don't like his attitude. But
I mean, he's 4-0 now in the UFC. He's 12-0 overall. I don't want to completely shit on the guy. Like, and I mean, like, for the most part, I mean, it's 6 decisions and it's 3-3. He's got 1 TKO win in the UFC. That was his debut. But I just feel like, Quay Guida, a tough, solid competitor, right? But, been around the block. And he got a split decision win over him earlier. Now, maybe this is a case where he's going to continue to improve and get better as time goes on. I mean, Brian Ortega did that at featherweight. If you look at Brian Ortega's early performances, even though he was undefeated, he was winning some really close ones. He had to, like, come back almost all the time. Yeah. But right now, on the trajectory from what I'm seeing as a fan, I think there's a ceiling with this guy. And, man, he's got so many credentials, though, when you look at his wrestling resume. It's very, very impressive. But I don't know. He's 37 years old. I mean, that's not old, but it's not too young either. So I just feel like, like, unless we see some great strides in the next fight, like, I don't see this guy beating some of the top lightweights in the world.
I don't think so either, but I also think I'm pretty biased. So,
well, great win for him anyway.
I'm just not interested to watch him fight anymore, to be honest. Like, if he's on the prelims, I'm not tuning in specifically to watch him. So,
all right, president of the Mark Madsen fan club.
Sorry.
That's all right. All right, well, let's go with someone I know you do like. Mackenzie Dern, big victory over Tisha Torres. Tisha Torres, tremendously, her strength. She showed a lot of power in being able to fight off those submissions. And we'll just say what's up here. We got Randy Osgood in the comments. What's up? We got Kevin.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, guy? I see. Hey, some of your friends here. So, but yeah, I thought Torres showed a lot of strength. She's very durable, never gets finished. And I thought this was contrary we were talking about with Madsen. I thought Dern is showing tremendously a lot of upward now. Like, I think she's really starting to become really impressive with her performances, and she's showing a lot of improvement.
Yeah, we talked about this in the preview show, but she has fallen in love with her striking.
Yes.
But your striking has been solid, but I was so glad to see her jump guard on Tisha and try to lock in that Kimura. I was so excited. Props to Tisha for fighting that off. I was super impressed with that. I was really impressed with Tisha's Taekwondo, her body kicks to keep Mackenzie off of her. I thought that was a great game plan. Overall, I was just super shocked that she didn't get finished on the ground. There were a few opportunities for it to happen, and it didn't happen. So props to her for that. But I'm glad that Mackenzie got the win. She's moving on with another W.
Tisha Torres, and I don't mean this to be insulting, but to me, she's become like the ultimate gatekeeper in the sense like she truly is just a tough person that you can't just finish and get out of there. She can beat you, but if you're one of the elite or one of, you're really good, like she might not beat you, but you're not just going to roll over her and you're not going to TKO her. You're not going to just submit her. I mean, right.
Yeah, she just doesn't get finished. Yeah.
No. So you're going to get some rounds with her. Jason Perillo, too. I don't know if we had mentioned him yet, obviously, working with Dern. I think he is a big proponent of her getting better and, her improvement in her striking, obviously, Bisping and so many coaches, fighters will talk about what a great coach he is with striking. Mm-hmm. But props to him, too, where they're not completely getting away from what, made her good in the first place. We're only improving on it. So
right.
I'm staying a little longer just because I was really, really impressed with his performance overall. And at women's strawweight in particular, like I'm really excited to see, like, I feel like Dern could be, especially with that jiu-jitsu game, she could be a very interesting matchup with a few key victories for somebody like a Rose.
Yeah, if she could learn a little bit of wrestling to get a takedown so she could get the fight to the ground at will, so she doesn't have to jump guard to use her jiu-jitsu, she'd be, twice as dangerous, I think.
Absolutely. All right, here we go. Fight of the night. This was something else. Khamzat Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns. Chimaev comes in looking so relaxed, giving you those old Conor McGregor feelings in the sense that, like, and I'm not trying to, compare, but, he just looks so relaxed. And then you had Gilbert Burns, right? The bar from, looking, tense, although he looked nervous. Mm-hmm. But, boy, that's not what we saw, this fight went on. It was not like a 14-second smash. Chimaev comes in, impressive, almost gets the finish up, but Burns hangs in there. And, we learned a lot. We learned that Khamzat is not just, nobody's going to not stand a chance against him now. Mm-hmm. But we also learned he's super durable and tough. And honestly, too, it's occurred to me, everybody's talked about what a great fight does it, but, and I'm not trying to take away from Burns because Burns is one of the best in the world. He's the first guy to test this guy. But also I thought the way Chimaev approached him, he was not showing Burns the respect, of someone that could put him out. And I think that should be noted because if his coaches can get Chimaev to really tighten that up, I wonder what kind of performance we see against Usman because this guy's still improving. And if you put him in there with Usman now, I think Usman's the slight favorite according to Vegas odds. And I would say the same thing based off what we saw. But this is a guy that's still evolving. And I just hope when he eventually gets that fight with Usman or Covington, if that's next, that he approaches it a little differently and maybe, learns from this fight too to, maybe not just go in here thinking I'm going to maul everybody now. Now I know that I got to put that work in, but I'm good enough to do this.
Right. I agree. We saw his corner being very animated, and I believe they were giving him a hard time for just going in and brawling with Burns instead of using the huge reach advantage that he had. He was much taller than Burns. So they wanted him to use, straight punches to keep Burns off him, because Burns was just landing, power hooks on him, but he's so much shorter. He has to step into the danger zone to land those. So, I have to eat some crow. I thought Burns was going to get smashed early on in this fight, and he showed that he definitely is one of the best. All the heart, for sure. As cliche as that sounds, that's definitely what I saw. He got dropped, and I think it was round 2. He popped right back up, and he hurt Khamzat in the fight also. So it was a super close fight. Could have went either way, really, but I thought that Khamzat deserved the decision, which he ended up getting. So there's talks about there being a rematch, like a 5-round rematch. Like, I would be interested in seeing that, but I'm also interested in the Covington fight. So
any of those fights with him right now against Covington, Usman, Edwards, a rematch with Burns, any of that one. Like, he's new blood. He's exciting. We still don't I feel like completely know everything about him, but we know he's good and he brings something different to the table. So I'm excited at any fight he gets with that next, with one of the top guys.
He was looking, this was a super high volume fight, but he was looking pretty tired in those later rounds. So that does not bode well for him in a fight against Colby Covington. I don't think that Colby Covington hits nearly as hard as Gilbert Burns, so he might not respect his power and not go backwards at all. Khamzat I'm talking about, but
I thought Burns was looking a little tired too in round 3.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But
Colby's not going to get tired.
No, Colby won't. And neither will Usman. That's what they bring different to the table.
Right.
So, yeah, we'll see how those fights plan out. I'm very interested, though. And, yeah, his coach, when he was yelling at Khamzat there, it gave me Ray Longo memories, which, of course, leads us to our next fight, Aljamain Sterling versus Petrolon. And I believe we were saying before this, we're going to get a completely different Sterling. I don't think he's going to necessarily win, but he's not going to be that same guy. And you talked about he had the neck injury and stuff too. So we weren't sure on that aspect what we were going to see. But, assuming that he was healthy, we expected this to be a closer fight than maybe some people were anticipating. Well, boy, was it. A lot of people really debated this one back and forth on who really won. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Sterling got a decision, but it was this is really 50-50. I really felt like a lot of different fans, MMA media, nobody was really on the same page with this. I would have to go back and watch round 1. I could have seen this easily just being a draw too.
Mm-hmm. Same.
But good one for Sterling. And I think it's interesting. Again, we talked about Perillo earlier. We're talking about being the great striking coach, but being smart enough to let Dern do what she does. Longo's always been that way too, right? He's a boxer guy, but he lets his guys wrestle and do what they can. He's got the best coaches around to help with that stuff. And it was the wrestling at that turning point, right? I think it was round 2. Yeah, round 2 when they really put it on him that we thought might be a 10 or 8 round for Sterling. And it was something to me, one of the most exciting parts for me, for whatever reason, when they go back to round 2, and an excited Ray Longo, who, if you listen to him on podcast, really is a nice guy. Mm-hmm. But when he gets going, he's just, yeah, Aljo, tell that motherfucker that's what's up. He is just into it, and it's just okay, all right, they're excited, and it's hard not to feed off that. And one story before I give this to you, because I heard this on the Annika Florian podcast, because Longo has a segment on there every week called the Longo Minute, and he had on his wall of champions, they have Chris Weidman and Matt Serra. and they never put Aljamain Sterling's banner up there. And he said because of the way it was, he wasn't sure he wanted. He knew Aljamain would want it, so I held off. But now after this performance, they put Sterling's banner there. So I thought that's really cool. I don't think Jan handled this loss well, but I get that. It was a super close fight. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it hinges on two things personally for me for the decision. I have to go back and rewatch round 1, like you said. But I also thought that round 2 should have been a 10-8 round for Aljo. He had his back for 3.5 minutes in that round or whatever, and he was threatening submissions the whole time. Jan was just hand fighting for 3.5 minutes to stall. So to me, that should have been a 10-8 round. So you could have said it was a draw or Aljo won. So I don't think Jan should have been as upset as he was, but lots of people disagree with me. So I do think the fight was really close. I did see Randy was asking if we're going to get a rematch. I don't know if the UFC wants to do that again. I think they're ready to move on from that. I think TJ is a better draw than both of these guys, so they want to get him in there in the mix again. So I think that's probably what we're going to see. It was a good call out from Aljo. TJ was in the crowd, accepted the fight, So I think that's what we're going to see next, and I'm excited for that one.
I agree. And you have Cruz and Aldo fighting each other at some point, and if, let's say, Sterling wins, right, and Cruz or Aldo, whoever wins that fight, you could do Sterling versus Aldo and Cruz. It's a fresh matchup, right? We haven't seen a top contender. And let's say Dillashaw wins and Cruz wins. Cruz holds a victory over Dillashaw. It's a rematch, the reason to do that. Or we haven't seen Dillashaw Aldo. I think there's fresh matchups to be made. I think Jan will win another fight or two, and then he's going to be right there anyway. And we might get a trilogy, even though technically Jan is 0-2. But it's, so is Holloway. And I think this is even weirder because Jan had DQ, right?
Yeah, DQ, yeah.
Yeah, so Jan definitely deserves a rematch at some point if he keeps winning. But I think it's time, the second fight we did, it took us a while to get to that. It's not like, you got to look at the business point of view to a certain extent too. And not just the fact that, TJ is more of a draw. Also, this wasn't like, this was a fun fight for what it was, but this was not some barn. This was not Chimaev Burns, where these guys just tore the house down. You're like, oh, we need this. And you can do that with lighter weight classes too. Figueroa and Brandon Moreno, right? I'd be down for a fourth fight. I know that might not happen now, but those guys just keep killing it every time. They're undeniable. This was not that kind of performance. I thought it was good. It was a good, smart performance, but also the kind of performance where I'm like, all right, let's move on and do something else for a little bit. And if these guys keep winning, it's there.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
All right, main event time. Not a lot really to say here other than Volkanovski. Damn, impressive performance. We'd like to believe Korean Zombie had a puncher's chance. After this, he just looked like a guy that was aging. I don't know that he is aging, but that's how he looked because Volkanovski was just that damn good in there. So solid a performer. Like the guy, don't like the guy. You can't take that away from him. He is currently the best featherweight in the world. As he's recognized as the champ. But he's not, even if you think Max won the fight and we have those fights again, this guy's at least the number 2. You know what I mean? Like he's that good. He's one of the best featherweights in the world. And there's a gap. And it's Holloway, Volkanovski, Ortega, and then everybody else. So what did you think?
Yeah, it was sad. I thought, first of all, a great stoppage by Herb Dean. Korean Zombie was just way too slow, and he got hit way too much. I know that's his thing, how he got his name, Zombie, and everything, just walking into damage, but he was too slow. He couldn't land anything significant on Volkanovski. Yeah, it's just sad. But anyway, Volkanovski, yeah, he's a great fighter. I'm glad he showed a lot of respect to Korean Zombie after the fight, but I'm also not a huge fan of him either. But I'm a huge homer for Max, so I think that probably has to play into it. Interesting to note that Cejudo entered the USADA testing pool after this fight, and he's been calling for that chance to get that third belt. Matchup wise, as far as featherweights go, Volkanovski is the best matchup for Cejudo because they're similar heights.
I don't think he gets it.
I don't think he's going to get it either. I think Dana is upset with Cejudo's antics. And bailing after winning both belts. So I don't see him getting it. He might have to. Now he might get a featherweight fight, and if he wins that, then
I believe that.
then he gets a shot. But
absolutely,
I don't think he's going to get a direct.
But I think he's going to get either Max Holloway.
He's
going to get a bad matchup with one of the elite. So we can say, hey, we put you into a top contender. He wasn't good enough.
Yep.
And it's going to be up to Cejudo to make himself, again, I feel like I said this a couple times, but make himself undeniable, where he's going to have to beat the very best in the world, where Dana's like, shit, all right, we got to give it to him.
It's a lot of tough matchups for him at that division, like a Yair. Yair's going to be 10 feet outside of Cejudo's range the entire fight. Mm-hmm. Ortega, Cejudo, take him down at your own risk. Good luck getting in on Max. Like Calvin Kattar, that might everyone's so much bigger than him. It's tough. It's gonna be tough.
Cejudo wants to make money, but also at the heart of the matter, I feel like this guy is just a competitor.
Right, legacy. He definitely cares about legacy.
He does. And he wants that featherweight title. So he's gonna try to. I think he's going to try to call out Volkanovski. He's going to keep doing what he's doing. He'll try to get a Conor McGregor fight, I'm sure, too. He's going to try to make that money. Yeah, I know. Who wouldn't, right? But he's going to get that notoriety. He's going to keep doing things like that. But he will take, I think, if he has no choice, a fight with Holloway or Yair. And it'll be very interesting, especially if it's Yair. Given Cejudo's wrestling, but also, like you said, Yair having that great advantage with length and height and reach.
And he uses it, too.
He does. And is he so big that Cejudo, just wrestling as good as he is, won't be able to do anything with that? However, that's an interesting fight to me, to see what kind of featherweight Cejudo will be. I feel like Max will just eat him up. I don't think it's even
that's the hardest matchup, I think.
I think it's
that's his fight IQ, his takedown defense.
Yeah. If he can beat Max Holloway, though, fuck. It's going to be what? I don't even know what to think then at that point.
Yeah, undeniable.
We didn't mention him. Another tough matchup for Cejudo would be Ortega, because now you're talking the striking, the size, also a guy who's elite jiu-jitsu.
Right. Yeah, take him down and good luck with that.
Yeah,
it's dangerous.
Yeah, Ortega might let him take him down.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get to this week's fight night card. Oh boy. All right, let's do it.
Well, we're gonna cruise through this because this is not a super great card.
No. All right, well, we'll make predictions on every one of these fights, though. That's what we'll do. I'll not every main card fight. I will make some kind of prediction here.
All right, before we do those, yes. I just want to shout out on the prelims. Chris Barnett is fighting.
Oh,
he's the guy who wheel kicked Gian Vellante, who is like a foot and a half taller than him. So everyone can check that guy out too.
Yeah, he's fought at super heavyweight before. Yeah, he's a big
5'8".
Yeah. Yeah, he's coming at 300 pounds before on cards in Japan and stuff like that. Yeah, he's interesting. Yeah, he can do like a little backflip or
he did the front flip and landed on his butt after. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's something else. Yeah, he's
dancing and stuff. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, a lot of personality. Yeah, so that's good. I wish he was on the main card actually.
Right.
All right, first one. We'll try to not butcher these names as best we can. Monir Lazaz. He's known as a sniper. He's 10-2, 1-1 in the UFC, 8 KOs, 1 decision. Fighting Ange Lusa, who's 8-2, UFC debut, 5 KOs, 1 sub. I don't know much about these guys. I'm gonna go with Lusa because he's making his debut, and I thought, what the hell? I hope this guy does it.
I'm going with the sniper because he has UFC experience. I think UFC caliber opponents is always going to be better.
Probably right. All right, Pat Sabatini versus TJ Lemire. Sabatini is 16-3, 10 subs, 2 KOs, 4 decisions. He's 3-0 in the UFC.
He's won his last 5 in a row.
Yeah. Against the Truth, who's 12-4, 7 KOs, 2 subs, 3 decisions. He's from the Contender Series. He's 0-1. Just going off records and stuff here. I like Sabatini.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. All right. Then we got, see if I'm saying this right. This one's going to be a tough one. Merler Bueno Silva? Marla?
I don't know.
All right.
You got me.
7-2, 1, 5 subs, 1 KO, 1 decision. UFC record is 2-2-1 against Yanan Wu, who's 12-4. She's got 6 KOs, 5 subs, 1 decision, 1-3 UFC 2-fight losing streak. I'll go with Silva.
I'm going with Wu.
Ooh, all right.
I thought she's looked pretty good in her fights, even though she hasn't won them. I thought she was looking pretty good through good stretches of those fights. So
I like it. Miguel Beza, Caramel Thunder. I like that nickname.
yeah.
10-2, 7 KOs, 1 sub, 2 decisions, 3-2 in the UFC, 2-fight losing streak.
Yeah.
Against Andre. We've seen this guy fight before. Fiajo?
Yeah, sure.
14-4, 11 KOs, 1 sub, 2 decisions, 0-1 in the UFC. I'll go with Caramel Thunder.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I don't see him losing a third one in a row.
Yeah, he needs this, right? So
yeah.
Let's see if he does it. Then we got another one here. Cario Marola. I'm so fucking off on this one, bro. He's 10-1. Kaio, he's 10-1. 4 KOs, 3 subs, 3 decisions. UFC debut, 2 wins on the Contender Series.
Yep.
Against, God help me, this guy's name looks like an eye chart.
Gadzi Omar Gadziev.
Yeah. Well, that person.
Omar Gadziev.
Well, that person's 13-0, won the Contender Series, 8-0, 3 subs, 2 decisions. So I'm going with Gadzi.
Yeah, sounds like another Russian destroyer.
Yes. Although I do respect that.
This will probably be fight of the night. I would.
Yeah. The fact that this guy had to win 2 Contender Series here to get in here, and he's only lost is like in his second fight of his MMA career. This could be a very good one.
Yeah.
All right. Then we got Vicente Luque, main event. This is the fight we really know about. The Silent Assassin. He's 21-7, 11 KOs, 8 subs, 2 decisions, 14-3 in the UFC. So Luque, most of his fights have been in UFC. He's had Performance of the Night 4 times, Fight of the Night 4 times. He's got the second most finishes in UFC welterweight history. And then you got, remember the name, Beal Muhammad, who's 20-3. Interesting to note, 15 decisions. He's gone to decision a lot, actually.
He's a wrestler, yeah.
Yeah, 4 KOs, 1 sub, 11-3 in the UFC, 1 no contest. He's had a performance.
That was that eye poke with Leon Edwards.
Yep. Performance of the Night and Fight of the Night. He was a Titan FC welterweight champion. This should be good. I think Luque won the first match.
Knocked him out, yeah.
Knocked him out.
TKO. In 2016 on UFC 205, that Conor versus Eddie Alvarez card.
I don't think that's happening again. I think Muhammad has the skills to pay the bills right now. I think he's someone that's constantly improving. I like him. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little high on him, but I think he gets it done. I think he gets a decision.
I'm a big fan of Bilal, but Vicente, since he knocked out Bilal in 2016, he has only lost to Leon Edwards and Wonder Boy.
Tough fight against Wonder Boy too. That real gritty performance. I thought I thought Wonder Boy won, but I thought if that had been like a 5-round fight, I would have been like, Luque might have won that. Yeah. Also, I feel like Luque, even though like I said Muhammad is a like Luque is a bad matchup for Muhammad too.
Right. He's a great striker with submission skill. So I actually see the fight going a little bit differently this time. I think Bilal's going to do his typical, clinch on the cage and wrestle him. But I think he's going to get caught in a submission. And, that hurts for me to say. I'm a huge fan of Bilal. But I do think he's going to get subbed later on in this fight.
All right. Well, there you have it. Those are our picks. And after this, I don't know what we're going to do about next week's card, man. I mean, I did see a couple fights on here, though. I see Macy Barber's fighting and Quay Guida's fighting. And this might not be as bad as we think.
When I first saw, they didn't really have anyone else on the card. So just when you have a headliner that's this week, you assume the rest of the card's going to be pretty weak. But we could get and also all these fights where you don't know anything about the fighters, sometimes, they're the best fights. So that's the great part about MMA. So
why don't we tell people what we got coming up then one more time?
All right. April 23rd, we're going to be previewing UFC Fight Night Lemos versus Andrade. And then at the end of the month, April 30th, UFC Fight Night Font versus Vera. And then we're going to be getting into a heavy card at May 7th, UFC 274 Oliveira versus Gaethje.
So many good fights on that card. We'll talk about that when it comes up. Until then, I think we're done for the day, correct? Anything else you want to add? We're good?
No.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll be back here next week to talk more fights. Appreciate you.